Hi there, and welcome to Writing Interconnected Stories. This is a quick video just to give you a basic layout of our class to make navigating our course easier. So here we are on our course homepage. From here, there is a menu that has most everything that you'll need to access in our class. Probably the place you're going to be going the most is the modules page. So in our course, we have a number of modules that you'll be working your way through. The first module here is just a basic walkthrough of all of the things about our course. So please take a look through those. Should be relatively quick to read. There's also a module with information about the MFA program in general that you will probably find useful when it comes to things like reminders for registration, how to do so, checking on your application for your degree, course expectations, and a number of other things. You certainly don't need to read through this at the very beginning. It's just a resource that is here as you have questions or issues that you need information on, a good place to start when you're trying to figure those things out. There's also a very short module here about how we will workshop stories in our course. You can take a look at that kind of at your leisure. We'll get into that a couple weeks into the class. Now, into looking at some of our modules. Every module they are separated by weeks, so you're going to find 8 weekly modules in our course, begins with an overview page. So when you click on this overview, you're going to see there will be, at the start of each week, I get these posted as we go, there will be videos introducing that week's work, kind of like this one, but for that very specific week. Just a little basics about what we're doing in that given week, and then a list of your assignments and when you'll need to complete them by. You can then just click next to go to the first assignment. In each module, I've organized the module in sequential order. So things are arranged in the order in which you'll do them. You can see when they're due and what we will be, how many points they're worth. The one thing I will note is currently, and hopefully this is changing soon, discussion boards, I can only put one due date on. So you'll see, and what I do is the first due date. So our discussion boards in our class usually have multiple deadlines, but you'll only be able to see one on the page that indicates the deadline and on your to-do list. Speaking of which, if you go to our syllabus page, you'll be able to find a full copy, the full syllabus. There's also a PDF of the syllabus. But then if you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see a course summary with the dates that everything is due. Again, the discussion boards only have one deadline listed here, but have multiple throughout the week. So that's just something worth being aware of. You can also access all of our discussion boards by simply clicking on discussions. Two discussions that will always be pinned are questions for the instructor and the lounge. So the questions for the instructor is a board that I check every morning, sometimes also in the afternoon. So if you have any general questions about accessing things in our class or how to go about doing something, basically anything whose answer you think someone else might also like to see, or any question whose answer you're okay with everyone seeing, you can ask that there and I will be happy to respond. Please ask those kinds of questions there. And then if you have questions about your grades or your own circumstances that you would like to keep private, feel free to send those to me through a Canvas message or an email. The lounge is an introductory space. I'm not going to say too much about it here. You can read the description. This will essentially be an assignment in the first couple of weeks where you'll introduce yourselves to each other, but then it will be yours to do as you wish with later on. And then the only other things that I'll mention is you can find all of your grades by clicking on grades. I'm in a sample student, so I can't really show you much now. But if once you have a grade, if you click on the score, it will open up and you'll see any comments that I've left broadly over here. And then there will be a little button that says view feedback somewhere around here. If you click on that, that's going to open up the document that you submitted and you'll be able to see inserted notes from me along the side. Then the last thing that I'll reference is this link right here that I'm not going to click on because by virtue of being in a fake student profile, it won't work. But that's where you're going to access a thing called Perusall, which is a plugin tool that we will use for Workshop. You'll get a lot more about that when we get there. The one thing I want to reference about that, because I've had people ask about it in the past, is if you go diving into the tour of Perusall, it may say something about using AI to grade your work. I do not do that. I will actively and humanly and individually grade any and all assignments that are a part of our course. So you don't need to worry about that. That's the basics. If you find yourself with questions on how to do anything in our class, please do not hesitate to ask, and I will be happy to guide you. I'm always happy to take those questions. I would much rather you ask and get assurance than guess and potentially be wrong. Looking forward to working with you all. And again, let me know if you have any questions.